Welcome to this T-level Getting Ready to Teach Accounting or Finance. This bite-sized session will look at the support and contacts that are available to support you in planning and delivery of your T-level. Has made a range of materials available to support you in delivering and planning for assessment of your T-level in accounting or finance. Starting out with the SAMs, the Specimen Assessment Materials or Sample Assessment Materials. These are papers that were produced before the first series of accounting and finance and were examples of what the core exams, the employer set project and the occupational specialism might look like. They were designed to help you prepare for assessment, but as we moved along, there's more live assessment papers that are available. However, these remain really useful for mock examinations if you want to use them to support students in understanding what the papers might look like. There are some grade standard exemplification materials and guide standard exemplification materials that sit alongside the SAMs and the past papers, which are really useful in helping to look at what the structure is and then what that looks like in actual work. So if you're looking to use the SAMs for this, you would want to look for the guide standard exemplification materials because these were produced before the first live series. And if you're looking to use past papers to support you in this, then you would be looking to use the grade standard exemplification materials because that's work that learners have produced and have then been marked by the senior examining team. And the GSEMs produced for the grade standard exemplification materials are evident of that grade. As we've just gone through those, we can also look at the fact that there are some additional sample materials there. This was in another set of papers. These papers, the AdSAMs, the SAMs, and all of the past papers and mark schemes are available in Exam Wizard. So you can actually use any of these past papers to either pull out bell work, maybe if you just want to do a question at the start or end of each lesson. You can also use all of these past papers and sample papers to create yourself bespoke papers on specific subjects, or if your students are familiar with these papers, because obviously a lot of them are available on the website without the padlock, you could use it to create your own bespoke paper for sort of if you're doing walking, talking marks or using them for marks or any other sorts of assessment that you're doing. In addition to that, you also have the lead examiner reports. These are published every series that there is a live exam, so there won't be a lead examiner report for the sample assessment materials or the AdSAMs, but there will be for every past paper that we've had. So there'll be some for occupational specialism, some for employer set projects, and some for core examinations. And these reports give you an overview of what went on with the cohort during that marking series. It will give you examples of the questions, how students answered them in that series, and it will also go through why the examiners have given the marks they have. So they'll show you some really good examples. They might show you full mark examples or as close to full mark examples with a breakdown of what they scored and why. And it'll also show you some samples that might not have scored any points or might have been more low scoring, so that you can see where students might have not quite gone in the right direction. And you can use that to support your students in sort of understanding what the standard is and understanding how not to make sort of misconceptions and answer the question in the way that will help them to achieve. In addition to obviously these and Exam Wizard, you've also got Results Plus. So this is more of an after the series has taken place tool. So this gives you a breakdown of how each individual student has done on each question or each sort of task as you go through, but it'll also allow you to compare with, you can create cohort ones, you can create ones where you compare against the whole cohort across the country. You can use it to help with guided revision. So Results Plus is really useful to set up. Now, Exam Wizard and Results Plus, and to access any of the materials that have got the padlock, all use your Edexcel login. So they're all using the same login to go through. So once you've got that set up, you're available to go and access them all. So they're all available. Some will be on the website. Some you might have to sort of go through the website and then go off to another website, say for Results Plus and Exam Wizard, but it's all available there to support you with your students. Pearson also produce a range of training events to complement the materials that are on the website, which are designed to support your team at the different stages of their T-level journey. So if you've got staff who are coming in who are new to T-level, say in September or throughout the year, they might want to look at the Getting Ready to Teach events, so the larger ones that we do for core and occupational specialism, or maybe they want to look at the shorter bite-sized versions like this to dip in and out of the topics they need. They're really good in helping to understand what the course is, or what the qualification as a whole, because it's a little bit different to what they might be used to. It'll also help you to understand the support that's available as well. For teachers who are familiar with the T-level or might be starting to do assessments with the T-level, we also offer these Getting Ready to Assess sessions. Now, they build on the knowledge from the Getting Ready to Teach. There is some small amount of crossover, but primarily the Getting Ready to Assess events are looking specifically and in depth at the core papers. They'll look at the employer set project, the occupational specialism, so maybe what examiners are looking for, what students should be looking for, how they're going to be marked. Again, the Getting Ready to Assess sessions come as longer sessions. We do a Getting Ready to Assess core and a Getting Ready to Assess occupational specialism. But equally, there's also a series of bite-sized versions of the Getting Ready to Assess, so you can dip in and out of the subjects that you feel are going to be most useful. Finally, there are also network events that run. These are designed for you to engage with Pearson, let them know how you're finding it, what you might need support with. They're also there to help you share practice with other providers. So you might be able to sort of network, share resourcing, consider what best practice is going on, how people are teaching. So it's really useful for that, especially if you're new to T-levels, you can build that sort of relationship. It's also designed to help you keep up to date on T-levels, what's going on in the sector, where there might be changes and things like that. So they're really useful, and these are all on the Pearson website through the training portal. Some of them will be on demand. You can just go and watch them at any point. Some of them will be live, where you'll actually be able to interact with the trainer. And obviously some of them are uploaded onto YouTube, so you can watch those later as well. In addition to the assessment materials and the training materials, Pearson also offer further support in your T-level journey. So we have a subject advisor, Colin Leith, who is the subject advisor for finance and accounting. You can access his information via the main page on the website for your chosen T-level. Him and his team are there to support you with any subject-specific questions. So if it's something to do with finance or accounting, or you're looking at the knowledge and you want to ask a question, or you want some advice on software, things like that, his team is there to guide you and support you. You can also use the Ask the Expert service. This is where you can send questions through to Pearson and they'll be sent to the assessment team or the senior examiners, and they will then have a look at the query and they'll come back to you with an answer so that you're more equipped for your T-level. There's also curriculum development managers. These work for Pearson. They come out to centres. They also do online sessions. So it's entirely tailored to what the centre wants. And the curriculum development managers there are to sort of give you an overview of what a T-level might be, help you onboard your team. So if you would like those, you can contact them through your usual customer service specialists. And there are sector managers who will run events. They might do the getting to know events, or they might be running different events throughout the year, or they'll sort of might go to the network events. So it's worth contacting them as well if you've got any specific questions. In addition to all of the assessment support that Pearson offer, there are also, if you look on the relevant website for finance or accounting, a whole range of teaching resources that are designed to support you. So this ranges from schemes of work, there's delivery guides, There's sort of lesson plans, guides with useful links that you might access. There's sort of mini employer set projects you can use. Now, it's important to note that because a lot of the core components are the same between, say, accounting, finance, legal services, and even to some extent some of the wider T levels, that it is worth looking at all of the T levels that Pearson offer and going and have a look at the teaching and learning resources, because quite often you will find that you could use them as they are. It might be that you go look at the construction ones, you decide actually I could use that one and I'll just change it a little bit. So there are a whole wealth of resources. So don't just think that you need to stick to the subject that you're doing. Go and have a look at all the resources across all the T levels, because they're there to support you and they're there for you to pick and choose. You don't have to use them, but you can adapt them, you can edit them. You could combine them maybe with something that you've created in Exam Wizard. So maybe pull the exam questions out, combine them with a case study, and you've got some more practice papers for students if you're struggling for past papers. So there's a massive of resources there. Other places that you can get support, the Gatsby Foundation, they have started to work with providers and employers to create T-level specific resources. They have tended to focus more on the digital type subjects, but again, the digital subjects all have a core of business knowledge that runs through them. So there will be resources that are likely to be relevant that you can use from Gatsby. You can adapt. The Education and Training Foundation, the ETF, they have been paid by the government to provide onboarding support and training to anyone that's delivering T levels. They have got a wealth of information. They have sort of courses you can do on things like getting to know what command verbs are. They've got assessment in T levels if you've got sort of trainees or people that are new to this style of assessment, because if maybe they've only ever done A levels, moving across to the projects might be slightly different. So there's whole courses you can do that are on demand to support yourself there. They have industry placements. There's a couple of different types. So you've got industry placements where employers will be invited along online. They're 3-hour sessions and the employers will talk through specific subjects. So there's been things like Wimbledon have come to talk about HR. There's been John Lewis have come to talk about project management. And again, don't just stick to finance or accounting. Go and have a look at all of the T levels, because quite often some of those other sessions, the industrial placements, are really useful for some of the knowledge that you need in the core business units as well. In addition, they also have worked with providers who are already delivering T levels to develop what they call trips. So they are T level resource like packs. So they're lesson plans, they're worksheets, they're all sorts of things that you can use or adapt to support you. I know there's some that have got things like embedding maths into the curriculum. There's some case studies on there. And again, they've done these across different T levels, so you can use those. They also do a T level conference. I think they have a couple each year. And they've got all sorts on the website that you can sign up to do. There's also things like sessions where you can get support in embedding those English, maths and digital skills into your T level planning. And they also have longer industrial placements. So there was funding, I don't know if there still is, but they had funding to enable you to have cover so you could go out into industry and update your knowledge. So it's really worth having a look at the Education and Training Foundation, because they've got such a wealth of information and support available. In addition, there's also the Association of Colleges. So they have regular meetings, not only for the T levels, but for the transition T levels. So the level 2 into level 3. They have network events where providers can come together and again, they can discuss what they're doing, share practice. They also have some really useful Padlets where they've gone and put all of the T-level resources from all over the place, like the DFE, IFA, from the awarding organisations, into one place. So instead of having to go to all of these different places, it's sort of a one-stop shop. Now, it's important to make sure that you go back to the original document if you find something useful, just in case there's been any changes. Like if you were looking at, say, I don't know, the specification on there for accounting or finance, it's important to go back to the original Pearson one in case something's updated and they haven't quite got to it. But they've got some really useful sessions for T-levels there. Other places you can look for support, as we said, other T-levels. They have pretty much all got a core of business units in all of them. So all of them will be teaching sort of business environment type skills, maybe accounting type skills. So it's really worth looking at all of the T-levels from all of the awarding organisations to see what other they've produced or what even colleagues in the sector might have produced. So you can use those as well for your students. And other places you can obviously look at other accounting, finance qualifications. If you're wanting to do some, you could maybe go and look at the BTECs as well. There's loads that you can do, and equally, if it's a Pearson qualification, you can, if it's a past paper, go and get this through Exam Wizard. So you could download a bank of questions or bank of, even if the questions aren't quite right, you could download the case studies and then use the questions so that you've got a consistent amount where students are learning to take all those different things out of the studies and put them in and answer the questions. So there's a whole range of places that you can go and get this information from to support you in setting up and running your T-level. If you would like to reach out to Pearson for further advice and support, there are some key contacts that you can use. We've already mentioned the subject advisor that you can reach via the subject page on the Pearson website. You can also contact Pearson through the support portal. The support portal will give you a tracking number so that you can chase your query through the system. And because there's such a large number of sort of boxes that you can select, you can be very specific on your query, and it means that it goes quite quickly through to who you need it to go to. So you're likely to get quite a quick response. So if you can use the portal, it's a really good way to go. You've also got email. So there are 2 email addresses that are relevant for T-levels. You've got T-levels admin support at pearson.com. So this is more administrative. This is things like registrations or checkpoints or transfers. So it might be more relevant to, say, the program managers or the exams officers. Whereas for delivery staff, T-level teacher support at pearson.com is likely to be the better one. And really, the best one would be to use the subject advisor service, but either would work, or you could use the portal and then you get your queries through and you get your information back quite quickly. There is obviously a postal option if you prefer. It is a lot longer. I can't guarantee that you would get a response in a short period of time. But if you did need to mail Pearson at all, you could mail them at the Lighthouse, 14 The Keys, Salford, M50 3BF. But really, your best approach is either the Pearson support portal or the Ask the Expert service, because they're monitored and you're going to get a quicker response. Thank you for listening to this bite-size Thank you for listening to this bite-sized session on support for the Pearson T-level in accounting and finance.